Well, previously I had issues when I was trying to do Mary Rowan's premiere with a technical issue on the YouTube side. This time, all of a sudden, my camera flashed on the screen and stopped and said data issue. And there was plenty of space on the micro SD card, so maybe I have a glitch that's starting to crop up with this micro SD card, and I'm going to have to go ahead and replace it, which I'll probably do today, so I don't have any more issues. And I don't remember which brand I bought, whether it was a PDY or whatever those numbers are. They're probably all made by the same company anyway, right? But where we were at when the camera stopped just a second ago, and this is again part 2 of the unboxing of Alberto Orozco's machine, is I was ranting about how poorly UPS had done with protecting the machine, and the fact that the pedestal foot was sticking right through the bottom of the box. I had zoomed in on it and showed you that. In fact, I'll see if I can do it one more time if some of you are catching this somehow on the second side instead of the first side. Can you see it? That's metal right there. And like I showed you, it's got a punch through on the inside of the outside box as well, which means this metal leg was banging against whatever was on the other side of that, concrete, cement, you name it. Not good, definitely not good, not acceptable. UPS should know better. UPS down in Dallas, Texas should definitely know better. And in case there's more than one UPS store in Dallas, Texas, which duh, there probably is, considering it's a population of over 1 million people, about the same size probably in population as Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'll give you the actual street address so I can identify the specific UPS store. So the UPS store that packed Alberto's is 7324 Gaston Avenue, Gaston Avenue, Suite 124, Dallas, Texas 75214. So if you happen to be an employee of the UPS store on Gaston Avenue, Suite 124, shame on you. You did a horrible job with Alberto's priceless family vintage sewing machine. You did a horrible job. You guys should know better. You should definitely know better. Let me move this inside box out of the way, and because I'm feeling the machine moving around inside of this box, I'm guessing that their crummy packing job continued from start to finish. Son of a gun. Okay, give me a second here. The last one was called Lone Wolf. Now this is interesting, this next title. And again, I typed in Texas, and it came up in this search. And I'm not sure if this is the best title to associate with Texas people, considering how great they are and how smart they are. This one is called Dumb as a Box. I have no idea how they came up with that title. Dumb as a Box. Well, I guess it's appropriate, dumb as a box, because the people at the UPS store, again on Gaston Avenue, Gaston, they certainly are not demonstrating how smart they are by their packing job, that's for sure. That's for doggone sure. All right, let's come out on this shot. I'm going to move this out of the way. Well, y'all can see that now. I think you can. Hold on a second. I don't have this locked in place. Right there. I can't see if you're seeing. This is probably rather futile, but oh, this is silly. Hold on a second. I'll just turn the box. I'm acting about as dumb as a box right now. So there you go, you can see it from a different angle. That's what happens when a machine is not packed properly and one of those cast metal pedestal feet punch through the inside of the inside box, and then they punch all the way to the outside box, and then you have that metal pedestal foot getting banged against concrete and metal and everything else. It's just, it should never have happened. Should never have happened. I've got a fruit fly that all of a sudden has appeared. So if you hear like a cracking sound or something like that, that's me trying to do this little mascot, as Maddie had referred to it. Get rid of this little mascot. I'm all in favor of fruit flies as long as they're flat. All right, let me get this crummy outside box out of the way. And we will get Alberto's machine back. Oh Lord, I can actually feel that coming through the bottom. And I'm going to intentionally leave it on the side because I'm going to kind of open the bottom of this box from the bottom, and then we can see more clearly what's going on with that pedestal foot coming all the way through. They obviously didn't pad it adequately. So that was dumb as a box. Played in honor of the people down in Dallas, Texas at the UPS store that packed Alberto's machine. And the next one is called Texas Napkin. Texas Napkin. Well, I was saying favorable things in that they maybe spent more money on their airbags, but here we've got one that was protecting the top of the machine on this inside box. We have one filled. Number two is pretty much popped. It's got a little bit of air left in it. Number three, gone. Number 4 gone. Number 5 gone. So I guess they're not spending money on airbags either, along with buying very, very poor corrugated cardboard boxes to pack priceless, fragile items in from their store. Yeah, not impressed. Not impressed at all. So that last one was called Texas Napkin. Then I'm going to put on Cowboy Lullaby in just a little bit, but I'm going to get this machine sitting upright first and move this box out of the way. Yeah, I don't know, we've had this happen before where the inside smaller box that UPS uses is better quality than the outside box. I don't quite get that. I don't quite get why they would use a better quality box for the inside but use such a crummy box for the outside. It just doesn't, yeah, who knows. But this sort of thing, where's my screen? This sort of thing, you should never ever have that happen if a machine is packed properly. Never, ever, ever, ever. Especially when it's professionally packed by someone like UPS. So I don't know if you have any guesses yet as far as what this machine is, if you've been able to catch a glimpse of any features or attributes of the machine that all of a sudden clues you to what it might be. But I'm going to set it up on the workbench. It's got some bubble wrap around it, not much, especially not much bubble wrap at all on the bottom. Haven't I said it multiple times? People do not do a good job of protecting the bottom of the vintage sewing machines, and then as a result you get something catastrophic like this that happened, where one of the very fragile cast feet on the bottom of Alberto's machine punched through the bubble wrap, the very thin layer of bubble wrap on the bottom. It punched through the box itself on the inside, and then it basically was pummeled and punched hole after hole in the bottom of the outside box from the inside out. It's just, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. I could go on. I could, and I might. You never know. From my angle, and maybe not from yours, but I can see some gold leaf filigree, which is a telltale sign of this particular machine maker. Definitely a telltale sign of this machine maker. All right, another hint for you, because I don't know if I've given it yet. But out of my 3 friends, Dr. Singer, Mr. Bean, and Herr Obermeister would have a very keen interest. He would have a very keen interest in this machine. Yep, that's a pretty good clue, I think. That's a pretty good clue. All right, a little bit more music on, and we will continue. So we did Cowboy. No, we were going to do Cowboy Lullaby. We didn't do it yet. Here's Cowboy Lullaby. And it's labeled dark. I'm not sure what we're gonna get here. All right, let's peel off these final layers of bubble wrap. Remember I said when you press against the bubble wrap you shouldn't feel the machine underneath? I can feel the balance wheel, every facet of it. So the bubble wrap they did around this machine as an inner core protection was just as bad as the rest of their packing. Very, very poor. They've got a little glob of bubble wrap here on the top that is the thickness, it's getting closer to the thickness that they should have used on the rest of the machine as well, but they didn't. Maybe it's outside of their budget, I don't know. All right, I hear you. Get out of the way, Scott. Get out of the way. Any guesses? I'm not looking at the chat. I'm guessing you're probably typing in guesses by now. Maybe I should zoom in just a little bit closer, huh? And instead of stretch wrap is a much better choice because stretch wrap will actually immobilize potential moving parts on the machine so that they're not bouncing around and that they're safeguarded. And instead, the UPS store down in Dallas, Texas used what looks like it's probably a garbage bag. It looks like a garbage bag. That's exactly what it is. It's a garbage bag. All right, get your guesses in because I am about to pull down this plastic and you're going to have to be ready to venture a guess. Otherwise, you're going to be too late. All right, here we go. Now, why would they have Arkansas Traveler under Texas? That makes no sense. All right, we're going to skip that one. And I'll go to Texas Techno, Texas Techno, which is labeled happy. All right, here we go. All right, remember, make your guess very specific. Make it very specific because there's different submodels within this particular maker. There's part of it. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? I'll even zoom in on it for you. Ah, an embroidery kit on the back. That's also a big clue. Oh, we can see a lot. We can see a lot, but not enough. All right, let's keep on going. Let's take this garbage bag off. One of the premier choices in professional packing is garbage bags. No doubt. I've been missing something. I'm gonna have to redo all of my packing videos, redo all the packing videos, and incorporate a garbage bag. It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. I'm getting Reggie White that's cheering me on here. Reggie is saying, you definitely need a garbage bag. You need a garbage bag, Scott. Come on, man. That actually is, it's basically a die cast of Reggie White. Number 92, for any of you that are Packer fans. Reggie White, one of the great all-time Packers. Isn't he awesome? Yeah, that's Reggie right there. Yeah, Reggie. All right, away goes the garbage bag. Again, premier in packing. Again, be very specific on what model this is. It might have a subclass. It might have a subclass. All right, let's come off the tripod and get a little bit closer to Alberto Orozco's incredible Western German engineered machine. Yeah, we're winding down. Perfect timing just as we come off the tripod. The tripod. So that was Texas Techno. I like that one. That was good. And the last one I'm going to put on as we're kind of walking around Alberto's machine a little bit is called Walk the Dog. See, it doesn't say walk the cat. Again, nothing against my cat fans, but not a lot of people walk their cats. Cats are like too independent to be walked. They're like, I'll walk on my own, thank you. So this is called Walk the Dog. Walk the Dog. All right, let's start at the front. Yeah, that does come off. It's tightened down right now. And this is so you can have an alternative type of spool of thread on here, kind of mount it sideways, basically. I love the oiling points on this particular model, and it's true of some of the other ones as well, where they've got this little spring-loaded ball, basically, that you have to push down in order to oil the different points, and then it pops back up so that you don't have these open oil wells that, you know, dirt and other junk can get into them. It kind of seals them off. The Germans are so doggone smart. Yes, they are. Very, very smart. All right, we're going to start where we finished as we're kind of wrapping up in Alberto's machine. This is called Roundup on the Prairie. So we're going to check the bottom of Alberto's machine too, considering the damage to the boxes in that we saw. Don't you love the FOF clutch plate holders on the end of the balance wheel? They put the cool little scaly surface on them. I don't know of any other makers that make their clutch covers like this. I just think it's so cool. The other ones just leave it like plain chrome and shined, typically, but FOF has their own flavor on it, which is really cool. Well, I'm seeing one thing that's not original. It looks like someone at some point added a replacement motor on this machine. And you can see here, we've got a Western Germany engineered machine with, wait for it, made in Taiwan. And this is only going to be rated at about, looks like 0.8 amps. And when you get a machine made in Taiwan or China or something like that, a sewing machine motor, you can pretty much guess that nomenclature plate is not going to be completely accurate. All right, I'll just say it. It's generally going to be very wrong. It's going to generally be way, way, way off. So this 0.8 amp motor is probably a lot closer to like 0.6 amps. So it's going to have comparable power, assuming it's running at peak, it's going to have comparable power to say a 1591 or a 201-2. Instead of the original motor, that would have been a lot closer to 1.1 amps. So Alberto has about 50% of the power that the original motor would have put out on this particular machine. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough. Is that dust or dirt or what? Just some buildup on the back of the balance wheel. And the interesting thing about most of the FOF balance wheels, looking for my magic tool here. Interesting thing about most of the FOF balance wheels is that they're going to be plastic. It's like a plastic resin. Unless you count the inside clutch plate, then that's going to get a magnetic response because it's metal. But the outside part of the balance wheel is plastic. Kind of surprising that the Germans would choose a plastic resin for the outside of the balance wheel, but that's what they did. They made up for it with all the other engineering. And this particular model has what is referred to as an embroidery kit on the back of it. This is something that's added to this model, and it gives a lot more decorative stitch output options than you otherwise would have with a machine. I actually have one of these in my personal collection. All right, did you post the actual specific model yet? Again, I'm not looking at the chat, so I don't know if you did or not. But, so I don't know what we're going to find on the inside, but some signs of, dirt buildup, varnishing, old grease. So did you guess the model yet, the specific model with the subclass? Yeah, what do we have on the pedestal? Replacement or refund guaranteed by Good Housekeeper. If not, as advertised. And then they tore the rest of the sticker off. So we don't have to honor that guarantee. There's not enough sticker there. I'm sorry. So, interesting, huh? It's kind of cool as they brought machines into the American marketplace that they would add things like this to them. Or they were added before they came into the country even, because they were coming to the American marketplace. And obviously Good Housekeeping was a very trusted name back in the, I wonder when they were established. I have no idea. But back in the 50s for sure, when this machine would have been coming onto the scene, Good Housekeeping, they pulled a lot of weight. So seeing a sticker like this on a machine right away, that homemaker or the buyer of that machine was like, oh, okay, Good Housekeeping has put their name on it. You know, that says a lot. And going way back in time, you might remember an old TV brand, Zenith. Do any of you remember the Zenith TV brand? They made other products as well, but they were best known for their TVs back in the day, in the 1960s, early 1970s. And Zenith, they had a saying, the quality goes in before the name goes on. The quality goes in before the name goes on. And that was probably one of the smartest marketing claims that any company ever made. And if that's not protected by trademark or by, some other provision, some company should scoop that up in a heartbeat. That would be huge and very compelling. So you can see on the paint surface on Alberto's machine, we do have some paint separation here, fairly significant on the bed. Other than repainting the machine, this can be sanded down because right now when you run your finger over it, there's a lot of ridges. But over here, you're going to be turning fabric potentially near the pillar, but it's not as bad as if it were like right over here by the needle plate. We've got a little bit of that happening too, though, on the back of the machine over here. And these are called machine scars. Machine scars are not necessarily a bad thing. They tell the story about how the machine has been used, kind of the character of the story. It's almost like a sailor way back in the day getting a tattoo. This is kind of the tattoo for a sewing machine. There, I said it. Did you have the kids in the room again, the grandkids? Because I don't want them to hear Scott saying that having a tattoo is cool, because then they're going to go out and get one, even if they're 3 or 4. You never know. Fake IDs. You know where I'm going with this. All right. So here's our presser foot lever. Again, just signs of general varnishing, cleanliness issues with the machine. And I'll say it again for about the millionth time, dirt is not the friend of our vintage sewing machines. It's just not. It's not our friend. All right. Speaking of cement floors that this machine was likely bouncing on, I'm kneeling on a cement floor with just a real thin rug. It's probably not good for my knees, I'm guessing. Hey, you can just see how massive that embroidery kit is. See that on the back of the machine? Otherwise, the boundary and the contour of the machine would stop right there. And you can look at this machine from the top. I've talked about this in previous premieres. I don't know if you remember. And I'm about to reveal the name, which you already know, duh, and the make, the model, and the subclass of this machine. When you look at this part over here, above where the stitch length controller would be, just to the left of the balance wheel, and it's broader, noticeably broader than a traditional FOF 130. And that's not even taking into account the embroidery kit that, you know, starts here and goes to the left. But this is a telltale sign that this is not just a standard FOF 130. It is a standard FOF 130. Ooh, that was perfect. I didn't plan that. It is a standard FOF 130-6. FOF 130-6. I'm going to need both hands for this beast. That is a big boy right there. He's been eating way too much of that Texas brisket. Isn't that what they call it, the Texas brisket? That's so coveted down in Texas. And I think during the pandemic, they actually put a limit on how much brisket you could buy. I heard that somewhere. Is that true? If you're from Texas, did they put a limit on the brisket? Did they limit your brisket? I need to know. We need to know. So obviously, as we're looking at this, excuse me, very cool FOF 130-6, we've got our feed dog drop right here. And here's our tensioner for winding a bobbin, which is missing some parts. Yeah. It's missing another spacer in there that would hold these discs more taut so that they can actually do their job. Right now they're not going to do the right thing. So I'm going to see if I can find a replacement part for Alberto's bobbin winding tensioner. Otherwise it's not going to work correctly. Right here we have our stitch length. And the stitch length on the FOFs goes basically from 0 to 5. And then if you want to, let's say you want the biggest stitch possible, 5 to 6 stitches per inch, you take it all the way up to the top. And then as you come back down, that stitch gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter till you get almost down just above 0, and then you're sewing at about 30 stitches per inch. And if you continue down, you're sewing in reverse. Now we come over to this control center, which does all kinds of things. Everything from needle position to stitch width. You even have basically a restrictor setter here for how far you're able to go with the stitch width, and it also has some function in relation to buttonholes as well. So a lot of things happen in this little region right here. Obviously that's our upper tension control unit right there. Good spring action, that's a good sign. So here is a machine. Oh, I was going to do something else as well. Remember, I was going to lean it back and have us check the bottom, just so that we can be confident that, yet by the grace of God and the sewing machine fairies, there are sewing machine fairies, if y'all didn't know that, and they do look out. They're like 24/7. They never go. They're always on duty. They're always on duty, always, and they ensure the safe being, the well-being, and the safety of all vintage machines around the world. That's a busy job, even as many of them as there are. It's huge. So as we're looking at the bottom, we're seeing more signs just of cleanliness issues, varnishing, dirt buildup. I'm extremely pleased to report that we have Pedestal Foot number 1 over here that does not appear to have sustained any damage. Thank goodness. We go across the main shaft. You can see we've got quite a bit of buildup right there. And this is going to be a critical part right here, because when you're trying to drop the feed dogs, this piston is going to pop out. And if you have a lot of varnishing buildup in there, you're going to have trouble actuating that feed dog drop. It's all part of this assembly right here. So if you happen to own a 130, 130-6 and you have issues with dropping your feed dogs, or it's not responding well, this is the area that you want to give attention to, because it probably has varnishing buildup and gook and dirt and small woodland creatures and everything else that have crawled in there and are preventing this little piston from shifting properly. We go across, you can see again, just like I showed recently on another Premier, here's our serial number. And if anyone wants to, for fun, kicks and giggles during the premiere, look up this serial number for this FOF 130-6 and give us the confirmed date of it. We obviously know it's going to be somewhere in the 1950s, probably around 1953, but if someone wants to look it up, I'll send you something special. So it's 4572566, 4572566. Again, call 4572566. Call right now. Operators are waiting. Yeah. You guys remember that commercial? Yeah, that's a horrible commercial. This is part of the assembly that attaches for that embroidery unit, so that when you change the different controls, it actually responds. That might be helpful. So again, we're just looking at, general varnishing, cleanliness, quite a bit there. This is going to be part of our feed dog drop assembly again. So this is definitely an area that is going to need some maintenance and attention. And if yours doesn't spring back, I'll kind of come out a little bit, then your spring is probably not working. So this one, all in all, seems to be, in spite of all the dirt and the varnishing. Isn't that cool to watch? How many things are pivoting to create the effect, the simple effect of feed dogs being dropped? Yeah, I love it. I'm entertained. You know that. And here's our dual cleated belts, which have seen better days. But again, I can check them out once I dig into the machine more, and hopefully they're still serviceable, because one of these belts, there are sources to get them. Just one of these belts is about $125. So $250 if you replace both belts, plus the maintenance charge, the labor charge of taking the pulleys off and all that stuff that has to be done to get the belts on. So. And there's one of our pitman arms, kind of reaching up skyward through the machine. A little bit on the dirty side. Let me set this down real quick. It's kind of fun. It's like we're going up the roller coaster. We're taking the roller coaster to the top, and we're not afraid. Ah! All right, let's put on, just for a little bit of background noise, so you don't just have to listen to me, Tumbleweed, Texas. We'll hear that again. Tumbleweed, Texas is a great tune. Yeah, as they get a little bit more worn, and these are probably still fine, but as they get a little bit more worn, they get more stretched. Kind of the nylon weaving in between loses its tension, and then they start to work their way around a little bit more on the pulleys. See that? When they're brand new and super tight into that interlacing grooved pulley, you're going to really be hard pressed to try to move them. Now they're moving a little bit more freely. They still have good grip, but it's a sign of wear. The sign of wear. Here's our Pedestal Foot number 2, which again, by the grace of God, survived. Pedestal number 3, and it's really a good thing. I believe, if I remember the way this was, no, it would have been this one. I'm wrong. It would have been this one. This is the one that was sticking through the box based on the position of the machine. It would have been better if it had been this one because it's a lot shorter, so it's going to have less of a tendency to snap off. It's going to be a little bit more sturdy. But the bad news is, and I wasn't looking carefully, I was not looking carefully when we went across the front of the machine. I was focused on the serial number. What do we see right there? Pedestal foot number 1. I went right past it. Pedestal foot number 1. Pedestal foot number 2. Pedestal foot number 3. Pedestal foot number 4. And if we look into behind these belts that I was moving around, come on. Does anybody else want to go down and kick some Texas butt at the UPS store in Dallas, Texas? So Alberto, I'm sorry to report that we do have one of the pedestal feet that, due to the poor packing of the UPS store, that did get snapped off. I just totally went past it. I was focused on talking about the serial number, and I went right past where this pedestal foot would have been. So this is going to be an additional repair for this machine. How critical is packing, folks? And the dog hair. How critical is... It's still there. That is such a persistent dog hair. How critical is packing? Why does Scott always harp on packing? Why does he get so livid and so animated when he sees a crummy packing job? And then yet, because of the vintage sewing machine fairies, gremlins, whatever you call them, the machine is spared. In this case, Alberto's machine coming from Dallas, Texas was not spared. And you can see, because of the way they cast these, can you see the little air pockets in them? They're tiny little air pockets. But that's what makes this more vulnerable. The casting process of putting one of these together, that when you're looking at a strong impact to the left or right, or a machine that's been inadequately packaged and is getting bounced around, and this is hitting the bottom of cement floors and metal beds of UPS trucks, eventually something's got to give. And in this case, all of our other pedestal feet survive somehow, even this one, which is shocking. I would have expected this one to bite the dust, just because of the sheer length of it. The longer it sticks out, the more vulnerable it is. And it's really the longest one, even longer than, well, it's probably about the same length as this one. It's going to be maybe a little bit long. Yeah, it's about the same length. So this one survived, that one survived, that one survived, this one bit the dust. Very frustrating, very frustrating. So it can't just be glued back on, if you were wondering that. Even with JB Weld, it cannot just be glued back on. There's going to have to be a couple little hole points that are drilled in, tiny little points drilled in here, probably with one of, where do I have it? This one may even be a little bit too big, but I just literally picked these up. And this is actually, this set is designed if you're having to extract a screw. If a screw, you can't get enough bite on it, then you can use this as an extractor to pull that screw out. But even this little drill bit here might be a little bit too big. I may have to go smaller than this. And then what you have to do is you have to drill, you have to port. If we can do it without cracking, that's the challenge too. You're going to basically port 2 holes. Both of them are going to be offset about probably about 2 to 3 millimeters in. So one there, one right about there, and then a tiny little metal pin or wire. And then we have to do the same thing to this end, and we get it to match up, and then we can bond it together as long as we have a couple of anchor points that are going to help hold it on. Now once this machine is standing, it'll be fine, but you know, any major impact, even with bonding it correctly and using some pin supports, it's never going to be as strong as it was originally. And this was let me say this for the record, this was absolutely preventable. Absolutely preventable. The packing was so crummy. That's why this happened. It's the fault of UPS, no question about it. So kind of a sad ending, but I will make it right. I always do. And with Herr Obermeister here now, I've got that extra set of hands. Well, yeah. Actually, looks like he broke his staff off. Did you break your staff, Herr Obermeister? You did, didn't you? I think he's nodding yes. He might be nodding yes, or I'm having a minor seizure, which is fine too. So, but at any rate, Herr Obermeister will certainly help me out. Mr. Bean, if you want to come over too when we get into this and see if you have any insights, that would be cool. That'd be awesome. All right, so we have a 130-6 that has arrived damaged at the workshop due to very poor, sorry about that. Who did I knock over? Is that John Lennon I knocked down? Sorry about that, John. Due to very poor packing on the part of UPS out of Dallas. So we will sometime in the near future get this onto the workbench, but it's going to be a while. Still a lot of machines to catch up on. My workhouse hours have shortened a little bit, so it is what it is. But again, thanks for watching part 2 of the unpacking video. Part 2 of the unpacking video for Alberto's 130-6. And beyond what it already needed, it's now going to need a pedestal foot repair. So if anyone's going to ship a machine to the workshop that has pedestal feet, yeah. All right. Well, God bless, and remember, you're never old until regrets take the place of your dreams, so don't let that happen. Hang on to your dreams, and more importantly, take action on them. And another great quote that I've shared a number of premieres back, the greatest prize in life is working hard at work worth doing. The greatest prize in life is working hard at work worth doing. I certainly do that here at the workshop, and I'm sure you do as well, wherever you're watching this premiere. So God bless, and stay tuned for more unboxings coming really soon. A lot of machines arriving at the workshop, which I'm very grateful for, and definitely keeping me busy. So bye for now. Oh, I'm sorry. School's out. I love bells, don't you?